I'm joined by Blair Feltmate. He is the head of the Intact Centre on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo and is in Oakville, Ontario tonight. Welcome to the Rundown. Thank you, Blair, for taking the time. So first, what's your reaction to the proposed BC heat alert system? Is it good enough?
I think it's a pretty darn good start. And it's going to start with greater capacity for emergency services in the province when the heat events hit. We're going to have 125 new full-time paramedics dedicated to the effort of serving people in harm's way. 42 new full-time dispatchers to send people to help people who, again, are suffering from extreme heat. And 22 new ambulances in the province to get to people who are in harm's way. So that's a good start on just plain capacity for emergency services. But also, I think the heat alert, it will help direct us to individuals that are pre-mapped out as being vulnerable to extreme heat. And that is, the system will be in place to know where the elderly are. This is one group that's particularly vulnerable to extreme heat. We'll map out where are the elderly, particularly people living on their own, perhaps in the back of a rooming house somewhere. We'll have people checking on them during extreme heat events to make sure they're hydrated, that they have fans, they have air conditioning, that they're not in harm's way. We will have systems in place to check on the homeless to make sure they're hydrated and somebody can help them get to a cooling center if need be, for example. And then people with pre-existing health conditions, particularly respiratory in nature, with the heat alert, they can make sure that they're in a safe location before the heat wave hits so that they're not otherwise stuck and vulnerable when these events occur.
And what wasn't in there that you'd like to see them address?
There's one major area that I think needs to focus on, and that is we need backup electricity supply for apartment buildings and condo towers. Because if you have an extreme heat event combined with an electricity outage, you can have people stuck on the 15th floor of an apartment building somewhere without fans, without air conditioning, without water supply will not go above the 6th floor in a building if the electricity goes out under normal city pressure. So we want to make sure that these facilities have backup electricity supply to make sure people don't get stuck up in these situations with extreme heat, no way out, no way to cool themselves, no water supply. And if that were to happen, extreme heat with an elongated electricity outage, you could literally see hundreds, if not thousands, of people die.
How hot is this summer expected to be, and what do you foresee in a few years from now? Do Canadians need to get used to these extreme heat events that just could happen more often?
Yes, they are going to happen more often, for sure. Climate change is irreversible. Climate change is here to stay, period. Things are going to get hotter in Canada going forward. And in British Columbia, the focus of discussion today, over the course of the next, it's hard to say what's going to happen on a year-to-year basis, but over the more or less the next 30 years, maximum daily temperature is going to increase by about 5 degrees Celsius above the maximum daily temperature that is currently the case. And the number of hot days per summer in excess of 30 degrees Celsius, that's going to a little bit more than double in British Columbia over the next 30 years. So it's going to get, the three main hot spots in Canada going forward are going to be south central British Columbia. That's one area. Number two, the southern regions of the prairie provinces along the U.S. border. And then also along the north shore of Lake Erie on throughout to the St. Lawrence River Valley. These are the three areas of Canada that are going to get particularly hot, lethally so, going forward.
That's where most Canadians live. All right, Blair, thank you. Blair Feltmate is the head of the Intact Centre on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo.